production. When it's played the way it's supposed to be played, basketball happens in the air, flying, floating, elevated above the floor, levitating, the way oppressed peoples of this earth imagine themselves in their dreams.
This group feels like it's special. The only way to capitalize on that is to win the whole thing.
We think we have the team that can go on and win a championship, and that's been our goal all season. And now we get the opportunity to go out and make it happen. It's a lot easier to climb the mountain than it is to stay on top of the mountain.
The longest reign in NBL history is over, and the Melbourne Tigers are the new kings.
There's a huge difference of making a grand final and winning a grand final.
Whatever happens, we're leaving this son of a bitch on the floor.
We're not just happy to be there, we're there to win it.
Dave Thomas with active hands. The Tigers have won it back. Dave Thomas for the finishing touches.
The group's hungry, and they're fit, and they want it.
And this is about 15 guys getting together and doing whatever they can to win a championship, and nothing is going to get in the way of that. Nothing.
For the fifth time in the past 6 years, the National Basketball League Grand Final Series begins here in Sydney, but the Kings are chasing their first title in 3 years and have only 2 players left from their last championship win. For the Melbourne Tigers, this is their 3rd consecutive Grand Final, and they're looking to repeat the 2006 championship drive, which they took over the Sydney Kings. Hello everybody, I'm John Casey, along with NBL Hall of Famer Steve Carfino, bringing you live and exclusive action from the Hummer Championship. And for the 4th straight year, Steve, we've got the best 2 teams in the competition here at the Big Dance.
Yeah, we sure do. No disrespect to the Perth Wildcats or the Brisbane Bullets, but these 2 teams are healthy, and they are the top guns in the competition. The Melbourne Tigers are really rolling at this time, and of course the Sydney Kings, 27-3 in the regular season. These are the 2 teams that most people wanted to see.
And amazingly, even though they have more wins in the regular season than any other team in NBL history, Brian Goorjian is talking down their chances.
I don't see us as favorites, but I see us as you know, I see it as a great series and something we'd be disappointed if we didn't win. But again, I just think they're a different team with Lampley and with DT healthy. So, you know, it's going to be a real challenge for us. We lost to them last time 3 straight, but we've got a lot of guys on this team that were on that team that are a little bit older, a little bit more mature, have had some international experience. So, yeah, I'm hoping for a better result than the last time.
There are a lot of similarities to 2 years ago, and Chris was MVP then, and this year, and in the semifinals with DT coming off of an injury each time and being the star in the games on the road, and 2 overtime game wins at Perth and at Brisbane. So we think the similarities are good for us, and we're hoping for a similar result.
The focus, I think, once you get on the court, just to really focus and not let anything, you know, get in the way of winning this thing. And you know, we've got to have an understanding that it's a 5-game series, and if you do drop one, there's a long way to go to actually getting it, the ring on the finger. So, you know, you just got to, you know, remain to the goal and you know, the game plan, and just let the cards fall as they may.
No, Goorjian's the king of playing the underdog card. I mean, his team's just produced the best record in NBL history. They've beaten Perth by 50 in the semi-finals. He's calling himself an underdog. Yeah, he'll come out and say that publicly, but I guarantee you what he's saying in the change room's a whole different story. So they've got home court advantage. They've beaten us 3 times this year. We haven't found a way to beat them yet. So our first order of business is to find a way to beat them. Then we've got to do it 2 more times. So it's a massive challenge for us, and you know, they're favourite in anyone's opinion. Just go down to sports bet. They're $1.50.
And part of the reason the bookmakers have Sydney so short is the fact that they've swept Melbourne in 3 straight games this regular season, Steve. Twice in Melbourne before Christmas, but most recently here 9 weeks ago, where Sydney needed overtime, but they still found a way to win.
They sure did. They were very impressive in their win here. They put pressure on the scoreboard, making the Tigers make their free throws. Chris Anstey gives them an opportunity with a missed free throw, and then Luke Kendall sends this thing into overtime with this shot. And it was a great win for Sydney because really the Melbourne Tigers had outplayed them most of the night, and they just willed themselves to a win here. Mark Worthington, who hadn't done anything all night long, hits the three-point basket that seals the win for the Sydney Kings. The biggest, most impressive win for Sydney on the year came on this floor against this opponent.
And if we can talk about Melbourne trying to come back from this, well, there have been 6 grand final series where a team had gone into the grand final having dominated their opponent, but on 3 of those 6 occasions, a team that hadn't won a game in the regular season has gone on to win the championship. And more interestingly is the fact that a team that didn't win during the regular season has never failed to win at least 1 grand final game, Steve. It's a cliche, but the regular season counts for zilch right now.
Well, I think that's a cliche because I think that the game of basketball is a game of adjustments, and I think the team that has to adjust more is the team that loses. So the Melbourne Tigers are going to come out here with plenty of wrinkles to throw at the Sydney Kings. Then it's going to be their turn to make the adjustments. So I think that's why when a team gets dominated, they usually pick up a win.
And the Tigers are working on the theory as well that the personnel that they will have here tonight in terms of their starting 5 hasn't started against Sydney at all this year.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, the thing is, when you got something that's working for you, you go out there, you get the start, you go out there, you get the things that work for you, and then we're going to see some guys making some changes, and I'm sure both of these coaches will be doing plenty of that.
Well, helping the Kings' cause is the fact that they are now a more offensive-minded team. They're scoring more points, and they've even stolen something from the Melbourne Tigers to do that, as Andrew Gaze is about to explain.
Thanks very much, Case. And as you mentioned, the Sydney Kings have got a little bit of that Melbourne Tigers magic in the form of the offense that they are run. It's called the shuffle offense, and let's take a look at some of the principles. Every action has a reaction. No matter what the defense does, when you're running this offense, there should be a penalty for it. It's a high post offense. That is, all players are starting foul line extended and they're cutting towards the basket. Cutting action goes to the low post, and in this offense you can post up any of your players. Let's have a look at one of the plays that you'll see a lot from the Sydney Kings. 2-3 start, the ball goes to the forward spot, one guard cuts to the basket looking for an easy opportunity, back screen on the other guard, again looking for the direct pass for another easy layup scoring opportunity. He flares out. Tonight you'll see this action with Dante Draper a lot. Ian Crosswhite comes and sets a pick and roll. Pick and roll action, penetration, and they're looking a lot of the time for the weak side dump. This generally be Jason Smith, penetrate in the middle, find Jason Smith in the corner, and he's knocking down threes. That's what the Melbourne Tigers have got to try and stop.
And to stop the Sydney Kings, they need a big front court to try and plug up the holes of all those great cutters for the Sydney Kings. And that's exactly what they've got in Chris Anstey in the middle, and also the MVP of the NBL winning that Hummer. Congratulations to him. He doesn't have enough money and enough cars going. Well, anyway, Sean Lampley is the big guy that is going to make the difference. A lot of experts say interesting game for him. He was dominant against the Sydney Kings the last time they played here. Dave Barlow, the Sydney King that got away, and he's had an outstanding year for the Tigers. That rounds up their front court. In the back court, Nathan Crosswell is going to come out and try and dribble the basketball up and get some cheap baskets in transition. Dave Thomas is healthy, and he was the difference in the series against the Brisbane Bullets. Now, coming off the bench, this is the team that can match the Sydney Kings with their depth. Daryl Corletto, solid player coming off the bench. Tommy Greer is playing lots of good minutes now for the Tigers. You want a championship? You need this guy on your roster, David Stipp. Wherever he goes, teams win. Stephen Hoare, one of the most underrated players in the history of the league. And, of course, the evergreen, Daryl McDonald.
Yes, the Tigers are certainly loaded and playing well at the right time in the season, but the Sydney Kings have played well all season, 27-3, including 14 out of 15 wins here at this venue. And their starting lineup, Ian Crosswhite, the man in the middle, has been good during the semi-final series. Glenn Saville has improved dramatically during the semi-finals. And Mark Worthington, the leading scorer for the Kings for the past 2 seasons. In the backcourt, well, Jason Smith, grand final MVP in 2005. And Luke Kendall, who has been the only player to start all 33 games for the Kings this season. With 2 development players, they look a little busy off the bench, the Sydney Kings. But the 2 to watch for, Dante Draper, who's been nominated for the best 6-man award in the competition, and Isaiah Victor, who has improved his points production 40% coming here in the semi-final series. We've got the rest as you saw them there, and we are set to go from the Kingdome. Game 1 of a best-of-5 scenario. Referee of the year, Michael Aylan, has the honours working this game with Ray Hunt and Scott Butler. Between them, the referees have no less than 9 Referee of the Year titles in some 1,600 games. And it's the Melbourne Tigers who control the tip, working to the left of your screen. And Lampley called for an offensive foul inside the first 10 seconds. And that's a legacy of what may have transpired during the semi-finals with the Kings in Perth.
Boy, Sydney just haven't let up. As you see, Lampley comes through with the elbow, clocks him right in front of Michael Aylan. They probably want to cut down on this thing as soon as possible. Andrew Gay's grimacing over here.
It's going to be a long night if they're going to blow the whistle for everything. Crosswhite down low against Anstey. The MVP. Crosswhite takes him at him, though, off the window, can't convert. Loose ball. Worthington from close range gets the Kings underway.
Sydney's defensive pressure is relentless early, but the Tigers have been able to make those adjustments against the Brisbane Bullets, who pressure defense as well as anybody.
Lampley penetrating. Couldn't finish it, but Dave Thomas from the clouds can.
And Dave Thomas, great to see him healthy again, as we see on the replay, aggressively going to the glass. And don't forget, Dave Thomas spends a lot of time in the guard position. Not too many guards can get upstairs like that. But you're right, Case. The key for me in this whole series is going to be how the Melbourne Tigers guards handle the defensive pressure of the Kings.
Nice ball movement from the Kings, but Worthington under pressure can't convert. It's a tough shot with Anstey lurking as Crosswell brings Melbourne back up the floor. Whistle off the ball here. Worthington and Anstey collide, and it's another offensive foul, this time on Chris Anstey.
Well, Sydney were very good at flopping at the right time against the Perth Wildcats. Once they feel a forearm in their chest, they're going down.
We didn't see that one away from the ball. It looked like they're both grabbing each other. And Mark Worthington might have got away with a little one there.
Well, they got a couple of calls early in the Perth game.
Single numbers on the shot clock. Glenn Saville just inside the three-point line, fills it up as the Kings take the lead.
Boy, he is just riding on a wave of confidence since he started in the playoffs, just catching that thing and not hesitating.
39% from the field in the regular season, Steve. 54 in the playoffs. It's been a marked improvement. Shot clock works to single numbers for Melbourne. Anstey off balance. The big man takes them on and gets the job done.
And the big man needs to get the job done with that type of defensive pressure going through the post. Crosswhite doesn't have the same ability as a lot of the other guys, so Anstey shouldn't have a problem receiving the ball. It's what he does when he gets it's going to be the key.
4 points apiece, a little over 2 minutes played. Term number 1, Saville working on Barlow. Crosswhite for Worthington. With 7 on the shot clock, he fires and knocks down the first 3 of the game.
Defensive pressure of the Tigers just looks a little tentative at the moment. They're working so hard on the offensive end just to get the ball, some motion in the ball.
Here's Crosswell down to the baseline, and with the finger roll finish as well.
And that's what he's got to do. And all that pressure on the ball, he's got to be able to turn the corner and make plays.
Jason Smith gets it from Kendall. Worthington and Barlow tangling off the ball. This is Saville against Lampley. Crosswhite invited to take the shot by Anstey. He does, and he connects.
I don't know if Sydney can play any better than this. A hesitation 20-footer by Crosswhite.
Good pressure again from the Kings as we get a look at Crosswell getting down to the baseline. Barlow restarts. Anstey puts it on the floor against Crosswhite. Lost control. Jason Smith has Saville in support. Dave Thomas to beat. But that's why he's been top 3 in the Defensive Player of the Year voting the past 2 seasons. Anstey for the 3. Off the money. Barlow chases down the offensive rebound. And the former Sydney Kings player knocks down the shot as well.
Really telegraphed that 2-on-1 pass. You know, on a 2-on-1, you got to take it all the way until the defense takes it away from you.
Jason Smith for Crosswhite, top of the key. Shot clock to single numbers. Jason Smith can't convert. Lampley the rebound. Crosswell has Barlow and Dave Thomas ahead of him. Lampley and Anstey join in now. Almost 4 minutes played here, turn number 1. Anstey picks up the dribble. Crosswell. Single numbers on the shot clock for the Tigers. Crosswell penetrates. Anstey had to retrieve the pass. It wasn't the best one. Ball knocked out of court. Melbourne have 5 on the shot clock.
Good dribble penetration by Nathan Crosswell.
Up-tempo start to the game. Both teams at 50% or above from the field. Dave Thomas penetrating. User-friendly roll for DT, the Canadian international. Knocks down the shot to give Melbourne back the lead.
Andrew, he's looking very comfortable in this grand final.
I think that comes from being healthy as well. When you've had a lot of injuries throughout the course of the season, you finally get healthy, you feel refreshed, excited about being back playing.
Anstey grabs the loose ball. Crosswell has Lampley up the floor. Looks to slow it down. 4.5 minutes played here. First term. Barlow back for Crosswell, taking on Saville, getting beyond him, rejected by Worthington. And good defense from the Sydney Kings, who statistically were the best defensive team all season. Saville works to a wide open look, can't convert. Dave Thomas with the rebound. 6 rebounds to 4. Melbourne lead that category. As Lampley goes baseline off the window, Sean Lampley gets involved for his first score.
With so much pressure being in the passing lanes and you're out denying the ball, it does open up a lot of the driving opportunities. And we're seeing Crosswell, DT, Lampley being able to take advantage of that. Very difficult to guard the man in a one-on-one situation.
Tigers have scored the last 6 and enjoy a 3-point buffer as the shot clock works to 10. Crosswell for Lampley, top of the key. In the corner, Barlow working on Saville and others. Dave Thomas spins away from Jason Smith and connects on the 2 as well. Melbourne have scored the last 8 and they now hold a 5-point lead.
There was a real problem with the shot clock then, wasn't reset, but here you see some of those driving opportunities. This time there was some help coming fairly late, and Mark Worthington steps on Nathan Crosswell as he's going away.
And we didn't have it in shot, but he was giving him the Dikembe Mutombo.
The no with the finger.
That's right. Well, you don't want to get into a trash-talking game with the Tigers, especially with Sean Lampley.
Kendall shut down by Anstey. They swing it around the perimeter. Dave Thomas with a piece of the action. Kings with 11 on the shot clock. Dante Draper into the game. Hinder about to do likewise as Brian Goorjian tries to snap this funk his team is in early here. The Tigers having scored the last 8. Crosswhite sits down, replaced by Hinder.
One of the things with the shuffle offense, it is very demanding physically. A lot of cutting to the basket. And when you're applying so much effort on the defensive end, sometimes lose your energy on the offensive end.
Hinder with the offensive rebound off the Worthington miss. And the Kings will reset here. Middle stages of the first term. Melbourne by 5. Nice pass from Hinder. Kendall backdoor, couldn't finish it. Draper misses the layup as well. And the Tigers put a stop to it. Crosswell against Draper, who reaches in. And Dante Draper's been called for the foul. It's the first on Sydney, and we've played more than 6 minutes.
Unlucky there for the Sydney Kings. Some couple of very good opportunities on the backdoor cut and then the second shots.
It's Crosswell backing in Dante Draper. Barlow ready to fire, comes up with the 3. Well, he missed 6 straight attempts against Brisbane in the last game, but here early, Barlow continues on from the 3 that he hit in the clutch play in overtime.
I think that's where the Tigers have the advantage. You have to double team their low post targets, and that gets them open shots.
That snaps an 11-0 run from the Melbourne Tigers. Mark Worthington with 7 of the 11 the Kings have come up with. While Sydney have won all 3 games in the regular season against Melbourne, Melbourne have led at quarter time in all 3 games, and Dave Thomas looking for a whistle from Michael Aylen. Thought he was fouled, getting no love at all.
I didn't see him get bumped.
No, but usually you wouldn't expect Dave Thomas to miss it by a foot. Yeah. So you generally say, well, he might have cause for complaint. A little flick on the elbow, and that's
those are hard to see.
It is hard to see, and sometimes the refs have to use their judgment to say, hey, I know it's DT's game. He's not going to miss it by a foot.
Yeah, those are. I mean, that is Dave Thomas, though. It's not Andrew Gaze. You expect to get a call like that.
Great play by the Sydney Kings. They're doing a good job, and it's that weak side action. All the attention's on the other side, and the backdoor plays when they swing it across. Excellent stuff by the Sydney Kings.
Stephen Hoare inside for Anstey. Hinder got a piece of it, deflects the ball. Now Saville with Corletto on the retreat.
That actually wasn't flashy.
Here's Isaiah Victor reaching in. Stephen Hoare. Kendall, top of the key, picks up the dribble, needs support. Now Saville. Shot clock. Rolls to 5. Saville shakes Corletto, is off the money. The Kings at the moment 1 of 4 from deep and 5 of 19 at a woeful 26% from the field.
Yeah, I was thinking that their offense is dried up and it looks stagnant, but they've missed 3 layups.
That's right.
Darryl McDonald looking for penetration against Dante Draper. Stephen Hoare read the rebound better than anyone. Gets Barlow another look, and he cans another 3.
I was thinking when Sydney were hitting all those early shots, the Tigers never really looked rattled. They just picked up their D a little bit and caught a couple of breaks by the Kings missing layups.
Saville for Dante Draper, working on McDonald. Little deep with a jump shot. Barlow grabs the rebound. Melbourne have got the answers so far. 12 rebounds to 7. And the field goal shooting 60% compared with 25. Single numbers on the shot clock. Barlow tries again. Stephen Hoare can only work it to the advantage of Isaiah Victor. Hinder with Kendall to his left in the corner, likes his chances, and that's why.
And they're big plays for the Sydney Kings. You talk about your half-court offense, but right throughout the season, they've relied on their transition baskets, working off steals and their defensive effort. They need to see that a lot tonight. They also need to find a way to get out to David Barlow. Brian Gorge has done an excellent job of teaching Barlow, and now he's coming back to haunt him.
3 of 3 from long range. Barlow has the lead out to 9, 2.5 remaining. Term number 1. Saville for Victor, reaching in. Anstey knocks the ball out of court. The Kings have got 9 on the shot clock.
Isaiah, 9 on the shot clock. 21.
Anstey goes to the bench. David Stiff checks in, which leaves David Barlow as the only starter on the floor for Melbourne at the moment. Likewise, Glenn Saville, the only starter on the floor for the Sydney Kings, as Draper, who's none of 4 from the field, is overdue. We'll have to wait a little longer. Stephen Hoare with the rebound. Neither team has been to the free throw line so far. A little over 2 minutes out here from quarter time. Stephen Hoare patient to David Stiff. Now McDonald. Shot clock rolls to single numbers. Corletto cutting to the basket. Right. The extra pass. Right. Getting Stephen Hoare a close look.
What fantastic motion. We see it from the Sydney Kings in the Perth series. This time the Melbourne Tigers just 5 or 6 cuts, always finding the open man. On this one we see Dave Barlow being the recipient from the 3-point line. But that other, this play here, perfect execution of the shuffle offense, running off the cuts, finding the open spaces. Whenever there's an overplay, identify the open man, and this time Stephen Hoare takes the easy basket.
Timeout ball called by the Sydney Kings. We'll go and listen in with Brian Gorgian.
Pressure going. The push of the ball, stay staggered. Just stay patient, fellas. We're giving up catch and shoot, all right? We're not talking out of there, all right? This is a grind, all right? This is a series. Keep running that ball off of the floor, Dante. We should have more staggers, more elbow hits. Vic, up that line and rebound. All right, up that line and rebound. Now, Shin series. 1-2-2 set with Vic in the middle of the floor, and the court spread with Dante or staggers. All right? Defense and rebound.
Well, it's a former Sydney Kings star, David Barlow, who's carving up his former team at the moment. 11 points for a game high. Look at his shooting. He's also got 3 rebounds, which leads that category in the game. And he was on the receiving end from the Tigers 2 years ago when he was playing here under Brian Goorjian.
Dave Barlow probably making a statement as far as the Beijing Olympic campaign as well. Brian Goorjian, the head coach of that team. And you'd have to say, Steve, he'd have to be a very strong candidate to make that team. Sure.
For sure. I mean, those are the type of players, and you know, those big, long guys that can do everything and guard different positions and play different positions and be able to stick shots.
Tigers by 11 here. Less than 2 minutes out from quarter time. Russell Hinder from close range comes up with his first score.
Melbourne Tigers got their entire bench on the court at the one time. And you like this because at training, this is how you spend most of your time. So you play with the same guys a lot in practice, you become familiar with it, and you can get easy scoring opportunities like that.
Again, good close catch for the Melbourne Tigers. And look at the Stars getting a rest for the moment. They've opened up this lead. And now the bench have come on and are carrying the momentum as Daryl Corletto works to the free throw line. Started in 14 games this season, Corletto, and one of the more reliable free throw shooters in the competition as well. In fact, since Andrew Gaze left the Tigers, I think he may have assumed the mantle as the best free throw shot taker in the club.
I bet this unit would take a lot of pride in beating the starters in training, too. I spoke to Adam Gibson from Brisbane a couple of days ago, and he said back when they won the championship, they often beat the starting team.
The Tigers take a look at their 2-3 zone defense, mixing it up, keeping the Kings guessing, even though things are going all right with their man-to-man. Just give them a little bit of variety.
4 on the shot clock for Dante Draper, penetrating. He kicks. BJ Carter with a shot clock expiring in the background, knocks down the 3.
And these teams, they're so good. They know exactly how much time is on the shot clock. BJ Carter, even though he had to get it off quick, didn't rush it too much. Off the chest to David Stiff, a little bounce pass from D-Mac, just a little bit off the mark.
Carter for Jason Smith, now Hinder, drawing David Stiff a long way from the paint. Plenty happening off the ball as well, as Isaiah Victor feeds Hinder, little deep. Corletto with the rebound. Shot clock is going to be some 5 seconds inside the game clock as we head toward quarter time. David Stiff, another former King, to McDonald. Shot clock to single numbers for the veteran, the 43-year-old. Kicks outside, Greer for Corletto. Gets a good look to pass to David Stiff, and he turns around and comes up with the finish, his first score in the game.
Pretty generous to call it a pass, Case.
After the event from Dante Draper, not that far away, but the first quarter honours are with the Melbourne Tigers, who enjoy a double-figure lead. It's Melbourne 29, Sydney 19, here on Fox Sports.
And right now, we have